last video was a bit of overkill, probably, just sort of showing a whole ton of stuff. I wanted to do a quick review on Discord. I'm guessing all of you folks are a little more familiar with it than some of the others. And I'm going to talk about, woohoo, Carlos is here. I was going to talk about aspect ratios, describing painting styles, look at some resources, talk about a weekly contest, look at a tool possibly, which would be Affinity Photo, and then open it up for discussion. I wanted to just take a look at the Discord server that's set up for this. I do want to say that you're not required to use this Discord server. You can set up your own Discord server and do, your own work there. I'm anticipating that this group is going to be more than just a once, an hour a week meeting, but it'll be more of a lot of online stuff and, questions and displays and trying stuff out. So I encourage people, including those who watch this recording, to be looking at joining the Discord channel. I'll just quickly zip through it. There's some information, a little bit of welcome, not a lot on announcements other than I'm going to try and keep things organized. I have a resources page here where I've got links to some different resources, and I'll be adding some more. In this case, some to paint style stuff, and then a link to the Hubcrate website that we talked about last time. Under text channels, we've got sort of the general one. There's some stuff in it. One for people to post questions and me to answer them. In this case, Joe had posted some questions on the Facebook group, and I transposed them here and then answered them. The Who Are You is sort of the intro one where we get to know each other, and if we haven't met in person, get a feel for each other. Meeting plans. This is sort of my agenda for this meeting. I'm also doing a bit of brainstorming on other stuff that I want to be covering. Off topic, there's not a whole lot here yet, but if you want to talk politics, that's the place and not nowhere else, or sports, or anyway. The art display area, it's more of just a place to, if you have something you've done that's fun, you want to showcase it a bit, to post it in here. And then, maybe do a bit of an explanation. So I've posted one image that I was working on, and Joe's posted another one. So feel free to post stuff here. And then I'm also setting up on request different work areas for different people if they want to do their work here on this server as opposed to on a personal one. I'll be doing some work on here, probably more limited to the Willy Wonka stuff. In this case, it was more of working through how I got to one, this particular image down here that I'd posted, and with sort of some description. So more of a tutorial on my approach to it. So yeah, I can set those up. I do a lot of other work on my other server where I'm chewing through all sorts of other weird and wonderful things as well. So I'll be jumping back and forth between them, but we'll try and keep an eye on what's going on here. So I haven't done I've worked with Discord quite a bit, but not in a multi-user scenario. So if any of you guys have a lot more experience, I'm open to suggestions. I also did want to mention that Discord is also the Midjourney is just over the past month or two has developed their own web interface that I haven't really used yet, but I've read that it's actually pretty good. I don't know if it allows you to do the collaboration that Discord allows, or if that's more of just sort of for a standalone thing. So I did want to mention that was out there. Also wanted to mention Jeff and I had been playing with. I believe that you can, if you're working in one of these work areas, you can go to work that someone else is doing and sort of fork it, or where you're trying stuff with it. Okay, I want to try something with that. So you can interact with other people's work. But if you're going to do that, maybe get permission or be polite about it. So yeah, so that's Discord. Any thoughts, questions? Okay. I think I touched briefly on the aspect ratio parameter. And this is more for people who are really new to things. But let me just jump here. I did want to talk about aspect ratio because no, don't want to do that. It's something as you're creating that you may want to be thinking about ahead of time. And so generally, aspect ratio is a proportion of the width to the height of the image. Midjourney, if you are not specifying an aspect ratio, it's going to be square. You can then, sort of stretch it in a number of areas, but or crop it after the fact. But I'd like to have people thinking ahead of time about what sort of shape do I want this image to be. If I want something I'm putting on like a Windows desktop, screen background or backdrop, it'll probably be 1080p, which is 1920 by 1080, which is an aspect ratio 16:9. Whereas if it's going to be the posters we did for Cinderella and Jungle Book were like a 2:3 aspect ratio. So where they were 16 inches wide by 24 inches tall. So just keep in mind that aspect ratio is a thing, and one that you probably want to take into account. If you do have a square image, you can, crop stuff out of it. It's really hard. You can't really stretch it without it looking weird. There it is. That's aspect ratio. It is there under the parameter of let me just jump over here to work area Ben.
Do you have that under like a resources or a like quick tips channel or something?
I could do that, like a commands and parameters. That would be a good channel to have. So for instance, let me just talk about it here. These particular ones were a bit of an extreme aspect ratio. This is a 1:3 aspect ratio. So that's actually 4 different images there at a very sort of extreme.
Right.
The I then dropped back to this one was actually a 1:2. So, then being 12 inches this way would be 24 inches the other way. So but aspect ratio does allow you to specify this is the aspect I wanted in. At some point I'm going to talk about the other one I've used, AI app that I've used, not within the past couple of months, but that would be Bing Creates free one. It only generates it, or it did at that point, in just a square, so 1:1 aspect ratio. But Midjourney does allow you to do the specific one.
And when you're doing your commands, does it matter where you put that, or as long as you specify it?
You're going to be putting it after the text. I've been playing around with some weird. Let me just do this. So in this case, let's do aspect ratio 16:9. So this is going to be effectively, it could be blown up to 1080p. And what were some of those recent? Sorry, I'm just going to grab a style reference here. You know what? I'm not. I'm going to try. Science. Oops. I'm not going to do a style reference. I will do a science fiction oil
Realistic oil.
Just say I want science fiction. Well, this is going to be a little confusing, but let's go with the broad or heavy stroke oil painting and see what we come up with. But yeah, the parameters don't matter what order they're in, but they have to be after your prompt text. Oh, I think I'm in relax mode. Let me just flip out of that. Okay, so let's let that run.
And I haven't, and excuse my ignorance because I haven't watched the video. So if you've already covered this, don't bother. So I don't want to bore people on that's watching the recording. But have you discussed like what the buttons like the U1, V1, all that stuff is in the previous video?
Yeah, we did, but it
Okay.
doesn't hurt going over it. So effectively it's going to be producing 4 images, with it being 1 your top left, 2 your top right, 3 your bottom left, 4 your bottom right. The U buttons are to upscale it. So if I really like a number 4 here, I can click U4, and at that point it's going to basically blow that image up, and then I can work
Oh,
further.
got it. Got it.
I can also, the V is a variant. So I can say, you know what, I like that, but I'd like to see some variants on it. It's going to pop up here and give me the option to add, I mean, to change the stroke here.
Right. Add to the prompt or change the prompt.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we could do, I don't know, let me
Or
see.
maybe change parameters potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now at this point, if you change the aspect ratio, it's going to come up with something that's really weird and stretched out. But you can do, I mean, I'm adding this red markings bit in there, and we'll see what it comes up with there. Once you have upscaled an image, you have other buttons as well. You can upscale it to a larger size, again, which allow you to print up to about, in this case, probably about a 20 by 30 print. You can vary it in a very subtle way. You can vary it, like I want something totally different. You can vary it by region.
Yeah.
You can zoom out. You can make it square, in which case it's going to fill in the top and the bottom. Let's do that as well. And then you can also pan to where it adds a chunk to the image, either on the left, right, bottom, or top. So you can really do quite a bit with that. So here's our one where I've asked it to do red markings. It's sort of made it a little redder, I guess. I'm not sure that there's, yeah, I'm not sure that was wholly effective, but it did give us some different variants on it.
Right. Have you just curious if Midjourney, because I haven't played around with Midjourney very much, but I have played with a few other tools. As you know, working for Microsoft, I've got access to a few things.
Yeah.
But one thing that I would say that none of this does really well, and I don't know if Midjourney does, is when you're using text or like if you want like a statement or some type of a phrase on the image, does Midjourney handle that well? Because a lot of the quote unquote the free tools, it does gibberish or mixes the words up or
Bing handles it better than Midjourney does. Midjourney's getting a little bit better. Like for instance, if and typically the shorter phrase, the better. Actually, you know what? Let me, where was I messing with that? Let me jump back here to this work area further up. See if I can spot any of those. Sorry that I'm zipping through this. You can go take a look at this if you want. But no, this must have been on mine. If I'm going to just do a search for Wonka, because I've been messing around with ignore some of this. This is a reason why this is on a private server. You know what, I won't walk a factory. No, come on. Let me switch to factory to see if I can get it. Let's go to the next one. So for this particular one, I'd specified that I wanted you know, the word wonky in there. So I mean, it sort of did it with the, and it is getting a bit better, but if you go more than 2 or 3 words, you're likely not going to ever find a match for what you're looking for. So yeah, text is not really there yet. And so yeah, with the, let me go back to here. Actually, let's go to the art display area. So this particular image here, I used Affinity Photo to do a number of things. One of them was to add the text. So this is sort of text from the book. So the image was Midjourney, the text, and then sort of fading out the top of the gate so you could actually read the text was all added at the Affinity Photo level, which is the equivalent of Photoshop.
Got it. Got it. So you just did the image and then you were able to put in the text where you wanted it.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've seen to be kind of the where we've used this for, presentations and things like that. You might generate photos and then like, for instance, in like a PowerPoint or something like that, right? Where you would do the text on top, and it's the challenge is getting an image that leaves enough white space or has the right, you know, design elements to allow that,
Yeah. Now, I mean, what I've done as well, let me, for posters for concessions,
Mhm.
those ones, let me just jump into, come on. You know, those ones we obviously aren't going to generate all of that there. I have concession stuff here. Hang on. So for Cinderella, for instance, that was the picture, and then I used basically,
Yep.
Affinity Photo to with a layer to provide the white background and whatever. But I enjoy even the picture, even if it's just a concessions thing.
Yeah, that's
So
good.
Ben,
I
how
just put it
good is it at modifying specific elements? Like say you want to make you love everything about this photo, but you want to change the color of the smoke. Will it get that granular, or do you go back to a different editing software for that?
let's go down and okay, I am here. Let's try something with that. I've got, let's go back to this image here. We haven't really talked about the vary by region yet, but this allows you to just change the region. So we're going to mess with, we're going to select,
You also have the where the child was standing. selected.
Oh, yeah, that's there. Can I delete that? All right, well, this isn't going to be production anyway, so let's just say that we want this to be blue smoke and see what we get. I haven't done a lot. Early on, this was probably last year, I did a series of car commercials.
Yeah, I remember seeing those. Those were good.
I don't know if you ever saw the one where I was trying to have it add a man into the picture, and one of them it ended up with, it was basically Darth Vader that it added in, which was pretty funny. So if we take a look, let me just flip that open in a browser. I'm not sure that it did a whole lot with that. Let's go back
Yeah.
to the original.
Well, it's like it added the blue on top, and then it like
Yeah, but it sort of
basically
was there
ended.
already, right?
Yeah. I know just fooling around with like Chat GPT, it would not change elements the way I wanted them to. It would modify stuff around. So I wasn't sure if this would do it or not, but I bet that's pretty tough on it.
Let me do just a quick within I have seen a parameter Midjourney can is there a parameter to reduce a certain color? Hmm. Oh, this parameter there, yeah, it's saying you probably have to edit it afterwards to using an image editing tool. All right, so that might be something to play around with a bit afterwards. Hey, it's Ben jumping in here after the fact while editing the video. I did go do some research and found one of the parameters, which is the one I was looking for, which is the --no parameter, which is negative prompting. And the example they show is --no plants would try to remove plants from the image. So I took our original factory, I tried a number of prompts on it. They are no orange, no blue, no black, and you can see sort of what happened to it. It tried. I'm not sure it was worth it given the changes it made to the factory, but that is the parameter that I was looking for during the meeting, so I thought I would jump in here with it and provide a little bit of education on the negative prompting. Anyway, back to regular programming. Let's go tightrope. So this was some playing around I was going to do for the contest for next week. And no, it wasn't the high wire. Ah. Okay, let's jump to that one. I'm gonna scroll up from there. Because I had, oh yeah, that one didn't work. That didn't work. Okay, so I liked this image here, the top right one, but it's got this line coming down. So yeah, here's the image. So I did a vary region on that. And I basically just chose that image there. The where the line was. And this was the variation. So I actually did get this top right one, which I'm going to show you here, where it did remove that line, sort of. You can just see a tiny bit of it right there. So that's probably a bit of an extreme case because it was a very small, thin element. But it did remove it without me having to Photoshop it out. If that's, so that's a bit of an instance in that.
Right.
And
So
in
you
that,
go first.
and in that case, I did change the prompt from, man in white shirt and black pants walking on a tightrope down to blue background oil painting and specified just that little segment. So it may be possible. And while we're there, let's jump back to here and see if we can remove a tower. Oops. Sorry, I now have a toolbar floating around here. What to get rid of? No, how do I do that? I'm just making it worse. Oh, right click takes deletes them. Okay. So if we just do, I'm just going to do the square. And I'm just going to try this kind of background. And let's see what we get with. So while that's generating, I did want to just briefly mention that, oh, hang on, there we go. It's done. Sorry, it's still going. It's at 75%. The answer is, I'm not sure that any of those.
It tried its best.
Well, this
Hey.
one's maybe a little bit thinner.
Top left one, yeah.
But that's about it.
There's this one right here. It's tiny now.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone actually looked at this where I was doing I was trying to get it to add a little boy there smelling stuff. And even though I had added it in, this was actually, I think, the third generation that I did before it actually added a person in there. The others were just like, no, that's not happening. We can't get there. So it's like, okay, well, it sort of has to, and if the shape doesn't really fit, the space you give it doesn't fit, it just doesn't work. So it's a bit hit and miss, but you sort of have to try and see where you can get to. I'm not actually, I know on the Wonka, for the Wonka show recently, they've come out that they want it to be set in the 1990s. So obviously this concept feels more like, 1890s in London. So I'm about 100 years behind on it. So that'll just be something we take into account when we actually get to the art. Okay, any further questions here before I get back to our agenda?
Yeah, so if you, I just really quickly, because I don't have my Midjourney yet.
You bet.
But if you look at the art display area, I just wanted to demonstrate kind of what it looks like from I just did a quick kind of mimic what you were doing.
Yeah.
And if you look at you can see Wonka is fine, right? And I grabbed the other one that says Wonka. It's like chocolate, like chocolati or something. It's
Oh, yeah.
The words are not like, so that's what I was describing.
Yeah.
And this is just using the Bing designer, which is pretty, I mean, it's pretty good. If you don't have text in there, it's got some good capabilities, but the problem with it is it's not as customizable or modifiable like Midjourney is after the fact.
Right, because you really can't, or when I was playing with it, you really couldn't take an image and say, okay, now from this image, let's no,
Correct.
revise or whatever.
Right. It's not, it's kind of, you get what you get.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's powered by DALL-E, which you could get DALL-E and not use it through via the browser, right? You can access the DALL-E tool set separately, but
Okay.
anyway,
Good stuff. Thank you, Doug.
yeah.
Okay, anything else before I move on? Okay, I wanted to talk about, I know in the video last week, I talked about the style references, which is sort of the newest thing from Midjourney that has had me all excited about what I was able to do with it. But I wanted to sort of back up to sort of what it originally, how you originally worked with it, and it's still legitimate, which is where you're actually describing what do I want the paint style to look like. A lot of my initial stuff, sort of one of my favorite styles was like a watercolor sketch. In fact, there's probably a bazillion of those here. Well, that's what the tiger was that we did last week. But where I really like that aesthetic. So one of the things I have posted in the, let me get back to our shared one here. In the resources section is links to a couple sites that really sort of demo painting styles. So if we go to this, and I wanted those out there just so you could take a look at them, to where this person has basically, chosen one image or description of a woman and then specified, that their style is illustrator or cartoon or graffiti, oil painting, impressionism, and some of these I haven't heard of. But they're there as sort of a prompt for you to think about, well, that's something, a look and feel. I'm just curious on that calligraphy one.
Well, that's really great. I like that. I mean, that website, it's really helpful because you only have so many hours, right? You're
Yeah,
paying for the time. So having a resource like that to look at to kind of go, okay, well, I like that style, or I hate that style.
yeah.
So like so you're not wasting your resources on things that may not be what you're looking for.
All right, I'm just gonna throw something else out there and then we'll flip back to that.
Hey,
Okay.
Ben, really quickly, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, just really quickly. I have a question on my end, but also Kim has another question. She cannot unmute herself. Maybe you can help her out. But before you jump on to see what her question is, when it comes to these subscription, I noticed that we have the $10 subscription,
Yep.
and it's actually very limited. So there's no way to go into relax mode, and we don't have access to the tools that you have. So I guess the best way to go about dealing with all of these prompts or anything like that would be either upgrade to the $30 subscription, or my second question will be, is there another way that we can add all of these prompts while we ask this tool what to draw for us? Is there a way to add these prompts, or we can just basically say what we want this tool to create for us straight in one single sentence? How can we go about doing that?
So first off, with Midjourney, yeah, the $10 subscription is somewhat limited. You're limited to the 200 minutes, which is I found I burned through pretty quick. But you can also bump your subscription up mid-month, and it'll give you credit for what you haven't used. I'm not sure I'd go above the 30. So the $30 subscription does give you 15 hours of time. It does allow you to flip between fast and relaxed mode, where relaxed might take longer, but it's not counting towards that 15 hours. And the other thing that we probably won't talk about again with fast is you can specify a whole set of images. So let me just, you probably won't ever try anything like this, but let's terminal in, and I'm going to specify green, blue, red, orange, yellow. Let's see if it, okay. In this case, it's actually going to create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different images, one with each of these different values that I've stuck in there. So that's another benefit to you. I mean, it only works in fast mode as opposed to relaxed mode. So my answer to you is Midjourney, $10 a month is pretty limited, and I don't think there's really a way around that.
Got it.
Other than hey Ben, here's a list of prompts. Can you run these for us?
Yeah.
Um,
No.
and I could do that, right? But yeah.
Okay, good deal. Thank you. And also, I know Kim has a question for you guys, but
Now,
she cannot unmute herself.
I can ask her to unmute herself, but I don't have a way to force her to unmute herself.
Yeah, Kim, you may not be able to unmute if you check your audio settings. Your mic setting might be set incorrectly to something else. Potentially. The other thing on the Midjourney pricing, I know that if this is more of a casual thing, which for me right now it is casual, but if I'm going to play with this, because I'm viewing this honestly as a somewhat of a learning, kind of stretching the creative side, right? But also, you know, as a little bit of a kind of an outlet, and you know, being able to potentially, hopefully, use some of this for some of the NYT shows. I got, and I almost had kids in all 3 shows. Thankfully, it's only 2.
Which 2?
Wonka and Mermaid.
Okay.
And but so just looking at the annual plan, you do get a 20% off. And so, you know, I essentially, instead of $30 a month, you know, it's
What,
24.
Yeah.
So for a little under $300, I could have 12 months of this at that $30 a month plan.
Yeah.
That is, it's not that expensive, but I mean, if you're not going to use it, it would be. So
Correct. Yeah. And probably for me, it's probably something I should be doing because I do use it a lot. And you know what the funny thing is part of it is, I mean, it's just fun to create stuff, and it's like, wow, that's really cool. And had I actually painted this, I would have been thrilled. But anyway.
yeah, I really like that that kind of almost abstract look.
Yeah. And feel free to post stuff during the week. I'm typically on here fairly often as well. And I'm going with that. I'm going to flip back to our just to finish. So this one again, it has all these different styles, some which I like, some which I don't like. But ideas on what you can do. Let's I'm going to flip to the other. That was this one, the style chart. I'm going to go to this site as well, where they talk about general modifiers. So basically what they're doing is they're adding, instead of a paint style, they're adding, like in this case, translucent colors or shadowed lighting or gritty texture. So, you know, some ideas of additional stuff you can add to sort of, you know, come up with the look and feel that you're looking for. So it's another idea of what you can do with that. So feel free to look at those and play around. And then the other one that's on there is my website, and this is doing the style reference codes where you can basically look and see the SREF codes. Where if you're looking for a particular look and feel, you'd use code 4. And at this point, you've probably all heard this already. I.e., one of my favorites is 555. Let's go to 555 and let that fill in where it's got sort of this orangish green geometric sort of style that you can add to stuff. And since I like it so much, we're going to do a quick. I've been playing with my Zeppelin terminals for a reason, but let's just do a, whoops, hang on. Let's go 16:9. All right, and let that one generate. Oh, sorry. Miss my aspect ratio tag. All right, so let that go. So there are resources there. There's all sorts of different ways you can describe what you want. So I wanted to, just for fun, have us do like a weekly contest, where I put up like a $5 Amazon gift card thing, and where people can, come up with something and post it. So what I wanted to do, is I'll create a channel for it, but this coming week 1 contest, what I wanted it to be was a character at a circus. I'd like you to use a non-square aspect ratio. So it can be something, as long as it's not square and you thought about it. And I want it to be some sort of a type of an oil painting. And then we'll do a poll on it next week and award a $5 prize to whoever wins the poll, if you guys
Nice.
are up for it. And that was part of what I was messing around with that one tightrope walker was, can I make this? How can I make this look? So I'll throw that out there. And if someone else wants to sponsor a second contest, that's cool as well. But I'll just do one a week. And if you're not sure what to work on,
Nice.
it gives you an idea of something to play around with. I don't know, while I'm bouncing around, I don't know if anyone picked up on the I think it was in the Facebook group I mentioned using like the technical blueprint. This is another style. Actually, no, I don't want that one. I want to go down a bit to where you can use it to sort of create faux blueprints, if that makes any sense. Actually, that wasn't the one I wanted. Where it has, sort of funky technical drawings that look like they're real, but they're really not, because they are none of the words will mean anything, but it looks like a technical drawing. So that's one of my favorite styles as well. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Okay, any questions on the contest side of things? Maybe 2 submissions total per person?
Nope, sounds good.
Yeah, so if you create the channel, then let us know, of course, where the channel is going to be. Or if you don't create one, we can probably just do it on the work area.
Yeah, I'll create a channel for you to post it in, but do it in your work area, and then your final image you can post into it'll be like a contest, week 1 contest
Nice.
channel for you to post it into when you have something that you're happy with. And there's our Zeppelin terminal using that 555 style reference. So this week, we're not using that. We're using more of a description where you're saying, hey, I want it to look like this type of oil painting for that. I'm going to jump back to my meeting plan. Tools. One of the other tool, probably the other big tool I use in addition to Midjourney is Affinity Photo, which is effectively a competitor to Adobe Photoshop. And if you need to be using, if you need to be doing any of the Photoshop type work, and I'll sort of demonstrate in a minute some of the stuff I do with it, you may want to think about that. So Adobe Photoshop is a monthly subscription where you're paying per month. And it looks like there's actually a $10 a month plan, a photography plan that you can use it. But there's also the regular Photoshop is like $20 a month. If we look at, let's look at Affinity. So this is Affinity Photo. Affinity also has a designer that is interesting. I've used it for a couple of things to sort of plot text along a curve and a couple other minor things, but for the most part, I use Affinity Photo. They also have a desktop publishing package that I have but haven't really used. So Affinity Photo itself is not this isn't a subscription price. This is just the license price. So you're not paying per month on it. The iPad version is $18.50, Windows version is $70. Or you can spend 165 to get all three of the apps on, I think, all the platforms. So if you are looking at doing something like that, Affinity Photo is actually pretty good. I use it for we talked about text and in text images. I'll also use it for cropping images. I will also let me pull I will also use it for adding layers in. So in the case of for instance, let's look at the Jungle Book. Let's see if what I have with that, with the Jungle Book posters. Where I added in, there's basically 2 extra layers in addition to the original picture. There's also the frame layer that's been added in, and then the text layer on top of that that adds it. So I think the summer shows that we just did, the Cinderella and Jungle Book and Guys and Dolls, was the first time I've really added in this sort of thing. Before then, it was just sort of the straight poster. Actually, I did it for Charlotte's Web as well for the animal one. It's just a bit of a border, but it seemed like it would be fun to add in the show, NYT, the date, just to sort of anchor it to a point in time. It also, I'll also use it for cropping, and then layers is the other big thing. And you know what, I can do some more tutorials on this as well if people are interested in, how do we do stuff. But it is probably, in addition to Midjourney, you probably want an application that allows you to then take and add text, or to, crop things out, or to crop it down to a size that you want. For me, Affinity Photo has been the one. Now, that being said, I hadn't worked a lot with Photoshop. I've got a son who does, and daughter who both do a lot of graphic design, but I haven't been able to. And for me, I wasn't real keen on that big monthly subscription cost. So that's Affinity Photo. That's my plug for it. Questions on that? If not, we're on to the open discussion work time. Anything anyone wants to talk about or ask about? Or we can shut it down now since we've been going for about an hour.
I have one question for you. We're playing around with some different Wonka factory setting, photos, and it kept popping up with an open gate, and some of them we liked. We just wanted to close the gate. Is there a way to just close the gate?
Well, what, in fact, if you go to my work area here, most of those have open gates, right? It was like, oh, come on, I want the gate closed.
I mean, it said closed gate, locked gate, through the closed gate.
Yeah, closed iron gate, and and two of them were closed and the other two aren't. That might be more a matter of either you keep trying until you get what you want.
Which goes back to the $30 a month. So
yeah. Or you try different wording. For instance, this isn't the gate, but this is more of another example was trying to get images of people, and it's like, I want more than just shoulders and head, right? And so you put in, full body, and it would still be shoulders and head. And I read someone who said, actually specify the color of their boots, and it almost forces it to say, oh, we want the whole thing, as opposed to just the head and shoulders view.
It's clever.
In a little bit.
Okay.
So maybe instead of a gate, it is a wall, and you superimpose something on. I don't know. In extreme case, I mean, in this case, I think I chose this one because it did have a closed gate, versus here the other three didn't, even though it specified closed iron gate. So I don't have a ready answer for you. Another option is just a sec, let's try this as well. Let's use the same. Early on I had used this as well. Let's do, I'm going to grab this prompt again, copy it, and I'm going to paste it here. And we're going to do closed, 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 closed. To sort of emphasize this needs to be a closed gate.
Yeah.
And see what we come up with here.
Sometimes it's like talking to a child. Huh?
I just saw my dad sent me a meme today of a baby standing, like really young toddler, like barely walking, but standing on the edge of a coffee table, and there's a glass of water, and it's an old video, but you can hear the mom in the background say, "No, don't do it, don't do it." He keeps trying to reach for the water, like he's gonna, and he ends up spilling it eventually. But it's like, this is God watching me, and when I can hear him talking to me, and I do it anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, like no, I'm intent. Well, apparently my little prompt did not work there, since none of them actually were closed in that.
If I ask it to make a closed gate alone, it does it. But it's when you try to do it with other things, it's like, no. That's
Okay.
weird.
I also noticed that when after you upscale the one variation you like and use the lasso command to make changes,
Yep.
it doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen to work pretty well with replacing items. So maybe that could be another way to try and closing those gates.
Okay. So this one I didn't. I mean, this is a variation. I did iron gate wall. So we sort of got it there. But let's give that a try, Carlos. Let me go up to one of these that has a symmetrical gate. And
Now, fair warning, if you go to the work area, Kim's work area, I did do that with a dog, and it changed the type of dog to what I wanted pretty well.
Okay.
So yeah, but I that's why I was just trying to see if the lasso would work with the door.
Okay, so here we have this. So we're going to do a vary by region. Oh, we got a guy. Wait, okay.
Uh, maybe the lasso would do. I know. I don't know. I got lucky. If you want to see and go
Oh,
to
yeah, let's do that. Work area cam.
yeah. So what I did, if you notice that, stay right there for a second. You notice that I have the right below the four. So I upscale this guy, which was supposed to be Eric with his old English dog, but it gave me a brown dog.
Okay.
So I went down and I used the very region, upscaled it, and it gave me that.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so I chose number 3, and you can keep scrolling down. And then I fixed the clouds, panned it back up, and changed it to oil as well. So it kind of did great. So if you guys want to see the whole thing,
Progression.
there's yeah. So there's dark clouds, and then
Yeah.
just keep going. I panned it up a little bit for more clouds, and then I changed it to oil in the next
Oh,
in the
wow. Look
next
at
one.
that. Okay.
Yeah, and then the last one I have is that one.
Yeah. And it's got the hair the right color. Hey, congrats on Sebastian getting the Prince Eric role.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. He's really happy.
Okay. You're going to need to upgrade your subscription.
Yeah, I noticed that already. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else have anything they want to discuss or ask about? Feel free to be on here during the week. I sort of check fairly regularly, and if I'm on, if you're on another server, it's going to pop up a notification that there's something that has changed here. So if you have questions or whatever, I mean, it's a community area for us to work in. So feel free to use it whenever. This isn't just an hour a week deal.
Good deal. Thanks, man.
No, I think we're good tonight. Good stuff.
All right, so I'm going to be adding in sort of a hints and how to use some of the commands and stuff. We talked about I do want to just quickly talk about I think I talked about the info command already, but info provides you with information such as what your current subscription is and when it expires, what mode you're in if you're on a slightly faster plan, how much time you have remaining. If you're on the $10 command a month one, this you're going to probably need to keep an eye on. And then sort of how many images. And then if you have queued jobs, it's going to give you an idea on that. You can queue effectively, it'll run 3 jobs at once for you and queue up to 10. Information here on queued jobs if you want to know anything about that. So
What was your prompt on that? Just your info
/info.
/info.
Yep.
Yep. Another thing I'm noticing here is the visibility mode, public. So, I mean, isn't that going to be a default across the board? Is there a way to make it a private? Is there such a thing?
I don't know. Initially when I started on Midjourney, you were on sort of like the public Midjourney server. So they lumped you into a server with, 30 other people. So you were seeing other people's jobs as well as your own,
That's right.
which is
Yep.
why I quickly got off onto my own server. So I don't know. I haven't looked at visibility mode on that, other than one of the really high-end plans. There's like a stealth mode where no one can see anything you've ever done. But I'm not too worried about that. So that's a
Right.
question. We'll take a look at that.
Awesome. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Let's go back here. No, I'll just delete these to get, and you can delete messages as well. Okay, I'll just dismiss that. And then, yeah, this is just ideas that I'm going to be sort of working my way through. And talking about tools, talking about different resources and that. So, yeah. That's it for this week. Thanks, guys. Look forward to been looking forward to this all week. So appreciate you guys joining me.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah,
Appreciate you, my friend.
Are you gonna have a place for us to put our submissions?
Contest.
Yeah, I'll add in like a week 1 contest,
Sweet.
and we'll go from there.